Alright, hey Claude, how are you?
I'm really good. You?
I'm good, thanks for asking. First off, I just want to thank you for taking the time to do the interview with us on You Know I Got Soul.
No problem. My pleasure, man.
Alright, let's get things started. Growing up, how did you get introduced to music and who influenced you?
I've kind of been doing music all my life. I grew up in a really, not really, I wouldn't say musical family, but music was always playing in the house. So I was actually singing before I could actually speak. My family was Jamaican, so the first music I remember was Bob Marley. My mother was a big Motown fan. And then I grew up in New York City, so there was a lot of, I grew up playing classical piano and flute, and then of course, the surrounding music was late 80s, early 90s, hip-hop, R&B, alternative fun, so it's always been a big part of my life. And I've kind of drawn inspiration from all those different aspects to kind of create the artist the musician that I am now.
Okay, cool. Now, how did you develop your writing talent and, what's the writing process like for you?
The way I write is kind of unorthodox. I don't believe in writing things down because my brain works much faster than I'm able to write or type things out, and it frustrates me to no end. So I usually go behind the mic and make up the first thing that kind of comes to my mind. I kind of go with my gut instinct. It's usually the right instinct. And then from there, I kind of go back and edit it. I might change a word or two or change a melody or two to make sure that it's exactly what I want to hear. That's always been my process. In terms of how I came into songwriting, it was very much by accident. I was an aspiring artist at first. Came back to New York from college and just wanted to kind of figure out a way to make it. And so let me try songwriting to see how it goes. Maybe there'll be something else I can do. Or maybe I'll be able to write my own songs. And I quickly figured out that I was really, really good at it and was able to write songs fast and get people's attention. So I kind of honed in from that point on, and it's been nonstop ever since.
Okay, now, how hard was it for you in the beginning, to get your records placed, considering you were a new writer, and, what kept you going?
Very damn hard, let me tell you. It is not easy to persevere and to get your songs heard and get them to A&Rs, to labels, to artists. And I kind of just, somewhere deep inside, believe that I was, somewhere there was going to be like a break for me. I couldn't explain it. I didn't really know what it was. And I've kind of always had that feeling that I would just be okay if I worked hard, really practiced and kept on doing what I was doing. And every now and then, I read a song and it wouldn't get placed, but it would get to someone's desk and they'd hear it and give me the kind of compliment that I needed, whether they knew it or not. That kind of shows me, okay, you're doing the right thing. You try to keep doing this, and you'll make it one day. And there's a bunch of those, a bunch of songs that people probably never ever hear, and they never even made it to albums, but were like defining records and getting me to the next steps. And they got me to a producer that helped give me an opportunity, or to an artist that helped give me an opportunity. And those little kind of like pats on the back along the way is what kept me going when I was really, really, really kind of down the dumps and saying like, shit, I'm still broke, and why can't I get these records out there, and it's never going to happen to me. And that's really what it's about. It's about perseverance and pushing forward even when everyone else is telling you no.
Okay, now, eventually you had a chance to work with Frankie J on his Priceless album. How did that opportunity come about?
That's exactly kind of what I was talking about. I was actually, through a friend of a friend and through my manager, I had done some work with DJ Clue, who's a very famous DJ. He was doing a remix, a Desert Storm remix for another artist, Ray J actually. And from that, DJ Clue was impressed on my work and called me in when he was getting ready to work with Frankie J. And from that point, I formed a relationship with both DJ Clue and Frankie J. And they ended up doing 2 songs on the album. One called Say Something, which is DJ Clue, another one which is There's No Girl, which we did with Frankie J and I together. And that was like my first single on the album, my first time seeing my song become a video and all of that stuff. And that was really just through connecting the dots and being in the right place at the right time and delivering when I had to. And it's kind of, that song kind of special to me because it was the one that really, I was at a point where I was, you're always about that point where you're like, you can't take it anymore, you're about to quit, and then something like that happens and you realize, okay, no, you're doing this for the right reason. And that song wasn't a huge hit, but it was a song that kind of encouraged me to keep going and reach for bigger and better.
Okay. Now, a personal favorite of mine that you wrote is True for Brandi. Could you give me the background behind that song and what it was like working with Brandi on that track?
Sure. True is a song I did with Red One, who I'm sure everybody knows now. He's responsible for Lady Gaga stuff and for the J-Lo single that's out. We worked a lot together, both him and I and Lady Gaga, all together in New York, in a studio in Queens and a studio in the city. At the time, he was getting ready to, we were both in the mindset of let's try and do a song, let's just try and dream big. So at the time, Michael Jackson was looking for songs. And I wrote True with Michael Jackson in mind. And if you actually catch the demo somewhere out there, it's very much a male record at first. And that kind of opportunity passed and it didn't happen for us. And then Brandi's A&R, Brandon Creed, heard the song and was like, this would be great for Brandi. And I wasn't in no position to turn the song down. And I'm a huge fan of Brandi's voice. Always have been. So I jumped in the opportunity to make that happen. So Brandi went in and we changed the key, changed a couple little words so that it made sense for her and made it honest to her point of view. And when I say that being through Brandi is probably one of the most amazing things ever because she can sing like nobody else. So perfect vocals, perfect emotion. So she brought that song to life very easily. And it's actually one of my favorites too. I wish that song had become a single as well because it's really one of my favorites.
Yeah, me too. Another song that I know you wrote is Musiq Soulchild's new single, Yes. Tell us about that song.
That song, I kind of chuckle about it because I like to keep people guessing. So I know a lot of stuff across the board, from pop to rock to all kind of stuff. So people don't expect me to do a song for someone like Musiq Soulchild, but I'm very well versed in R&B. I'm a huge R&B fan, always have been, and sing R&B as well. So the label was looking for songs, Atlantic were looking for songs for music, and I said I want to give my hand. I'm a huge fan of his. So the song I wrote for him, kind of where I felt like he would need to be as an artist now, what people would want to hear from him, what I as a fan would want to hear from him. He's always been great at being like the honest voice of the honest male perspective. Like he's not a shit talker. He's not talking about like the money or being in the club and girls. He's always talking about like uplifting women or the reality of a relationship, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So it's really a song about telling a woman, that reassuring her that she feels insecure about where they're at, that she shouldn't have to because yes, I still love you, yes, I can still be with you no matter what. And who better to say that than Musiq Soulchild,
Another one that you wrote is Pieces of Me for Ledisi. Tell us about that one.
Ledisi is like my little buddy. Like we actually knew each other through Twitter before we actually knew each other in person. We were there for a long time. Because we have the beauty of Twitter because I've met a lot of good people through that networking site. But she hit me up after I'd done Bittersweet for Fantasia. And was like, I really love that song. I really want to work with you. And for her, we stepped outside the box because she's been kind of labeled as a jazz singer, kind of an underground sensation. And she really wanted to work hard at kind of like breaking that mold and doing something bigger. So I was definitely respectful of her fans and her sound, but I was like, I want to do something that's going to put you on a bigger stage. So we talked, and how I always felt every session, no matter who it is, I asked them what's going on with them, what's their day like, how they feel, what they want to talk about. And she basically said to me, Claude, I feel like people only know one part of me. And I feel like because of who I am, I have to always be smiling. I always have to let people know that be the uplifting person. That's not always who I am every day. I can do everything, but I'm happy sometimes, I'm sad, sometimes it's hard, sometimes I'm frustrated. I want all those parts of me to be on this album. So from that, I said, well, let's just talk about how there's different pieces of you and how you want people to know and respect every part of you. And that's really where the title Pieces of Me came from. And the very first line of the song is, people just don't know what I'm about. Exactly what she said. And she didn't even know I was listening to her that carefully, but I was writing down what she was saying and studying her. And after the song was done, she sang it so deeply that she was like near tears when it was done. It was so true to her time. Yeah, it was so true to her life at the time. And we've been friends ever since. And she's gone beyond beyond in thanking me and letting me know that, I was able to, help her be honest on record in a way that was commercial as well as true and, musical for her. So I'm excited about that song. I have a feeling it's going to do really, really well. She's like right before an explosion, so I think she's going to blow up.
Now, all the songs that I mentioned are R&B, but you've also penned some of the biggest pop hits in a couple of years for artists like Britney Spears, Miley Cyrus, and Bruno Mars. How do you kind of, shift gears from writing R&B songs to pop songs?
For me, it's not really a shifting of gears. I mean, just shifting gears almost means that, like, I'm becoming someone else. That's not the case. I really grew up listening to that wide variety of music as a child. So, I mean, I have old mixtapes where I would have like Nirvana, and the next song would be TLC, and the next song would be Biggie, and the next song would be Alanis Morissette. So for me, I've always been able to there's always a melody and there's something that's moving me emotionally. It doesn't matter what the genre is. So it really wasn't a step for me to write Circus for Britney Spears and then do Fantasia. You see what I'm saying? So for me, it comes from the artist himself. I like to feel who the artist is and their sound and their personality, and that's what dictates the kind of song I write. But it's fun for me because a lot of times songwriters get put in a box as an R&B writer or a pop writer or a jazz writer, whatever, and I've been able to defy those odds by doing just whatever the hell I want to do. Because I can and because I like it all. That's kind of the legacy I hope to leave. That, yeah, I wrote Party of the USA, but I also wrote pieces of me. And it's no harder to write the pop records than it is to write the R&B records. It's a challenge no matter what you're doing. I challenge myself to write a good song every single day. So it's an honor to be able to write everything I want to do and live out my dreams and do it on my own terms.
Is commercial success, in the thinking process when you're writing a song?
Never. In fact, to the point where I can honestly tell you, I can never tell when a song is going to be a hit. I have no clue. I'm the worst. I can hear other people's songs and tell you, oh, that's definitely a hit. It's going to be huge. When I'm writing them, I never have a clue. Even after the record's been cut, even after they say it's the first single, I'm always the last person. Like, yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens. Because I just have no perspective of what's going to work commercially. I just kind of do what I feel and what I sense. So I guess maybe somewhat deep inside there's a sense of what's going to be a hit, but I can't tell you. All the songs that we've mentioned so far, I've had no doubt they're going to do well.
Now, does it affect you at all when a song you've written does not perform well commercially as you would have expected?
I mean, it's disappointing when you feel like a song is special and people haven't embraced it the way you want to embrace it, the way you think it should be embraced, because it's almost like having a child that people say is not as talented as you think they are. But I promised myself that I would never put out anything that I was ashamed of or not happy with 100%. So with that in mind, I'm never disappointed by how a song sounds. What happens commercially is kind of beyond my control. That falls into the department of marketing, timing, video, imaging. That's the part of an artist's career I don't touch. I can only ensure that we write and produce and vocal this song as amazing as I can possibly make it. So I'm never disappointed with how it's going to turn out. I think that's definitely disappointed by the song's performance, but I have been really disappointed with the song, so I can't blame myself.
Are there any songs in particular where you felt like it should have been a hit, but it wasn't?
Let me see, I did a bunch of Christina Aguilera records that I felt like got panned before people were even able to hear the album. On that Bionic album, I didn't like the first song I wrote, a song called Prima Donna, which I thought was amazing, and should have been better received had they gotten to that single. I'm trying to think of other songs that hurt. What I did with her was pretty extensive, and I felt like we did some pretty cool stuff, and it didn't get out there the way it should have gotten out there. Apart from that, I'm pretty happy. Actually, I wish Hold My Hand had done much bigger than it did. It did really, really well worldwide, but I wish people in America had embraced it for the song it was. I felt it was really heartfelt on the song. But apart from that, I'm really proud of how the songs turned out themselves, so I can't really...
You know, of course, when a song does become super big and hits number one all over the charts, the songwriter is usually the last person to be acknowledged. You know, does that bother you at all?
It used to, because I mean, you want to be, who doesn't want to be acknowledged for the hard work they do? But I found that like I do get acknowledged a lot. I'm grateful that I do. I'm one of the songwriters getting acknowledged way more than they used to, and I make sure to speak for myself. You know, I don't expect anybody to speak for me. It's nice when they do, but oftentimes people don't. And if I write a song, I make sure that everybody knows I wrote it. So you'll know from me, from my mouth in interviews like this, or on Twitter, or however I can, that I wrote the song. And I'm certainly proud of the work I do, so I'm not going to hide it from anybody or pretend that I didn't do anything for anyone's benefit. But the more involved in the industry you get, the more people feel comfortable, shouting you out and giving you the credit that you deserve. I've come to a point now where people, are excited at the fact that they got a song from Claude Kelly. That's kind of where I wanted to be, so I'm happy.
Mm-hmm. Now, you've been a victim of having many of your songs leaked onto the internet. How do you feel about that?
Well, it's a double-edged sword because I really, like I said before, I take a lot of pride in the final product and how people are receiving records. So it's very frustrating when things get out there before they're done or before they're cut and all that stuff. And it's neat. On one hand, you have these fans who love my music and love the artist I'm working for's music and are so excited to hear that they can't wait and do whatever it takes to get it. And in that way, it's flattering. But in another way, sometimes I try to tell them I wish you would wait and get it the way it was supposed to be done so you could really enjoy it the way I want you to. But on the same token, I've got a lot of great fans from songs that have leaked that I never would have thought people would even like. And songs that become successful, I've got placement for songs that way as well. So I don't encourage leaking. I don't encourage people hacking and leaking stuff. I actually still hate it, but I do recognize that it's a subculture and that people are doing it. I still receive all the love accept the love that I get from people for the songs that they've heard on YouTube and all over other places on the internet.
Okay, now you work with some of the biggest names in music history, from Britney Spears, Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston, Backstreet Boys. What would you consider to be the highlight of your career so far?
Well, Michael Jackson and Whitney Houston are two of my all-time favorite artists, period. So having my name associated with them in any way is an all-time milestone, highlight. I think that's a shit to me. That's awesome. I didn't get to actually work with Michael Jackson, so having on the track alone has been more enough for me. I spent a good amount of time with Whitney Houston. She was more than I could have expected or imagined as a mentor and as kind of like a friend. She gave me a lot of advice, and she's awesome, very instrumental in like shouting my name and letting people know that I was behind a lot of music. So the time I spent with her is probably some of the most valuable time I could have ever asked for. So that's a huge highlight for me. Huge highlight. I don't think it gets much bigger than that. And then I've had a blast working with everybody I work with. In different ways. I've done it from every artist I've worked with.
Okay, who is an artist that you haven't worked with yet, but if you got the chance to work with them, you could write a hit for?
Wow, there's so many. I really want to write a hit for Mariah Carey. I want to write a hit for Pink, Usher, Janelle Monáe. Green Day, or Stefani. Someone else, like Avril Lavigne. I love all these people. Rihanna, I love Rihanna. These are all people that are kind of on my super wish list. Hopefully every time we talk about I'm not going to people on the list. Those people are.
Yeah, well, there are a lot of, talented songwriters all around the world. What do you think it is about you that has turned you into one of the first writers labels call upon for a huge hit?
I think for me, what people get is melody first. I'm a melody person. Everybody has their big message. For me, it's melodies and storytelling. I tend not to follow trends or really care what everyone else is doing. I do this for the same reason I felt I'm doing great storytelling and great melodies, and that's what I write. So when people come to me when they want, but whether it's a male or female group or whatever, something classic, a really great, edgy lyrics on top of it, that's going to be best. And I do, they come to me when they want, and that's when I kind of be brutally honest, because that's what I do. I can't make my or fake it, what takes a less record because you want the next thriller, whatever it is you're looking for. My thing is send this to artists to you, and you sit down with them, have like a musical therapy session.